It's funny to think about Tremors having become a franchise. We actually approach each Tremors film the same way. We don't worry too much about what the fans are counting on because we know that we're counting on the same things.
The Tremors franchise is, the core of the kind of stampede filmmaking ethic. So people love it of all ages. So we feel that we have a responsibility to go in and deliver for those people. And actually, it's a pleasure to do that.
There's a real sense of responsibility, I think, that I felt, I know Steve and Nancy feel too, to the fans, because if people are loyal to the franchise and they really like it, and we bump into people all the time who love those films, we kind of feel, yeah, maybe we owe them another film, but we don't just owe them another film, we owe them our best effort.
I must say it's very gratifying to know that there's a fan base out there that is just lusting after whatever these Tremors movies do.
I wasn't aware how huge the fan base was for Tremors until you start talking to people about, what are you doing? Well, I'm working on Tremors. You're doing what? You're working on Tremors? That's my favorite. I mean, people will come out and just go nuts.
They're just waiting with bated breath. Man, I can't wait for Tremors 3. I can't wait for it. And you guys went back to perfection? That's great. They want to go back to perfection.
Graboid, one of them's bobbins. Freeze. Everybody quiet.
A graboid?
What?
Are you kidding? For real?
Tremors 3 is a natural melding of 1 and 2 and an evolution to a third stage. When Steve and Brent and I created the story for this third one, we really wanted to deliver for the fans on the creatures, but we also felt that we might have a unique opportunity to go back to the original town and to see where these people all were 10 years later.
We have a lot of our returning denizens of Perfection, Nevada, characters from Tremors 1 who have come back for Tremors 3.
Nancy, Jody here. Listen, the shrieker things, they can fly now, so get off the roof. You're not safe up there anymore, copy?
Tremors 3 really is a kind of a bridging between the two because it incorporates the relationships that are very central, I think, to this story and that drive it, really. It's the characters that are interesting that bring the story forward, and as well as the whole storyline of the monsters and the way the worms change and grow.
As with any trilogy, you need sort of a metamorphosis of character, right? And you're going to have an evolution of characters. And the worm is no different. It has now gone from this worm and evolutionized into ass blasters.
You're reading the Tremor script going, okay, I get, okay, Graboid, yeah, I saw this. Shrieker, oh, I saw the second one, oh, that's funny. Okay, oh, and they turn into an ass blaster. You flip it, ass blaster, oh, what?
No, all I'm saying is we discovered them, right? So we should name them. Let me think. Okay, blast offers. Or butt launchers. That's better, huh? Oh, ass blasters. How's that?
Sounds like a porno film.
Like so much else in the Tremors lexicon, it is preposterous. It's absurd. And that's one of the reasons I think fans come back to see Tremors, because you never quite know what bizarre take these writers are going to do next.
Sons of bitches are always on a learning curve. Load. Load! Incoming!
What we wanted the new creature to be was an organic evolution of the first two creatures, a life cycle of the creature. And so we got with our now third-time partners, the guys at Amalgamated Dynamics.
The whole concept of the ass blasting came from real life. It came from the bombardier beetle, who creates a mixture of organic chemicals within its own body that, when they are combined, they become explosive, and it's used to propel the beetle from one point to another. and sort of building off of that idea was the notion of wanting to give the new creatures something new, something we haven't seen before.
What's it doing now?
Hey!
What the?
With Tremors 3, particularly because of the amount of overlap between CGI and practical creature effects, the value of that is that you're getting the best of both worlds. There's certain things that really lend themselves better to puppets, and there's a lot of things that lend themselves better to CGI.
We wanted to make sure it looked real, like it looked like it was really there in the set, to make sure the lighting is correct, to make sure there's a shadow under the creature, and when it runs in the dirt, dust puffs under its feet. The animation, I think, was really, really excellent. They move very naturally. And Kevin and his team put all of those things in, and that really sells it like it's really in the environment.
The textures for the creatures were all taken off of real photographic stills that we shot on the set. You know, ADI had spent time and obviously lived Tremors for, you know, the last couple of films, so who better to dictate what the paint job should be than the guys who designed the creature. So we photographed extensively the stuff on the set, how it looked on the set, and also we went to their shop and photographed as well.
Blew him away! I mean, blew him!
To fit this very ambitious movie with 3 different kinds of monsters into our budget meant that we had to restrict our shooting days. So we ended up with a 22-day schedule, and that was the hardest thing about the shoot.
Tremors 3 was a very friendly shooting environment, and all I can say is, with the budgets we had and the time we had, the compressed time that we had to make Tremors 3, I'm amazed that people stayed friends. I think it's a tribute to the fact that there were a lot of great people involved, and most of us really liked each other.
Well, there's one scene in the trailer that we got to do that they didn't use a stunt person because they wanted to be able to see our faces, where I had to go into a skylight with a flaming arrow gun. Then we fall down from that. That was pretty fun. It was kind of, I had the flame really close to my face though, but I guess you don't get to do that every day in life, but yeah, it was fun.
The hell'd you do?
I shot him!
In the case of my actually being swallowed by the monster and pulled out like Jonah from the whale, that was a little tour de force on the part of the writers, because the object was to truly throw a scare into the viewer, saying, my God, we've lost Bert. How is this possible? He's gone. And then to give Bert a resurrection, if you will, is a lot of fun. The scene itself was, you know, a pain in the butt. It was cold, it was uncomfortable. I was buried in a hole. It was a little claustrophobic because I had to break through the hole and pull me up, and it threw dirt all over me. And it was a little like being in a grave. It was a little scary. But it was a hoot.
Bert! Bert! Are you down there?
I've always been proud of the fact that these Tremors movies, as far as firearms go, have never turned a firearm on another human being. The firepower is directed at these creatures in all cases. That I have no problem living with.
The .50 caliber machine guns are visually impressive. They're huge, they're almost 6 feet long. They weigh about 100 pounds apiece. And when they fire, they put out a huge flash about 4 feet long, and it's deafening. And when you have 2 of them firing simultaneously, it's absolutely deafening. Well, that was an actual World War II vintage turret mount that we had from an armored personnel carrier or a half-track from World War II. We don't have a bunch of grips with cables and stuff moving that. That is actually motorized. Right behind it, there are 4 big car batteries, 12-volt batteries operating that thing. So it's really working. When you see Bert traversing and elevating and everything, that's actually him doing it.
It was a real challenge over the course of the movie getting those .50 caliber machine guns to the set. The .50 caliber is just a very distinctive sounding gun. It has this tremendous concussion that actually moves your clothes when you fire it. So when Bill told me that we have to test fire this before we put Michael in there. We want to be sure that this is working. So I'm afraid, Steve, you're going to have to do it. Of course, I was devastated. And Harry Lou showed me how to get situated into the seat, and then they fired it up, went hot, and all the safety procedures that we go through before we ever fire a gun on the set. And I'm sitting there with these little buttons under my thumbs, and boy, when that thing cut loose, it was just impressive. I was wearing, hearing protectors. I mean, you cannot fire a 50 ever without hearing protection.
Steve had a good time. I think his comment was, is that all there is?
I fired, I guess, 20 rounds, I think.
20, yeah, something like that.
Which went off in about a
couple seconds, yeah, a second.
Something like that. And it just, shook the earth. The dust rose up around me. It was like, sitting in the center of hell somewhere.
Any questions?
Something that's really gratifying for me is to have so many people come up to me at the end of the show, Tremors 3, the end of production, and tell me how much they enjoyed working on the show. It was a brutally hard shoot. Everybody worked really hard.
My feeling about the people that are involved in Tremors, 1, 2, and 3, it's almost like we're family. We've known each other since that first experience.
One of the reasons I wanted to come back was because that family feeling. It's a little like returning to the family in Perfection, Nevada of Tremors 1. And Bert is a labor of love.
Well, to be kind of like the new guy on a Tremors project was like being part of a family. Like when we did the readings, initially we just sat down around the script, and Michael and Brent and Nancy and Steve and Susan, we were all there just kind of bouncing ideas up, So I thought, oh, this is going to be cool, because everyone's on the same page.
I think for Tremors particularly, this is our franchise. It's very much characteristic of the people in Stampede. And we were so delighted with everybody we were able to hire on this film. And they all knew that they were coming in under very tight budget and time circumstances, and they really gave us their all. I hope that they will all come back and work with us again. We would take every one of them in a second, from crew to actors.
I think if you appeal to people's pride in what they do, and crew people care, the cast certainly cares, the crew cares, they care that they be associated with, a good movie. So that's what we appealed to. It wasn't just another film. For us, it was something special. It's a movie that we wanted to be proud of.